Everyone loves seeing high stakes action, and this is actually what is brought to us by Triton on a very, very regular basis. I'm just taking some time now to analyze some of the greatest hands they played there in the latest episodes. And we are going to start with this hand here, where we see Elton Tsang open raise to 4K in a game that is 500-1000 with a 1000 ante. Yeah, villain in this hand will be Jason Koon, both sitting there with 100k US dollars stack size. I will try to analyze the decision points those two had specifically, and obviously try to figure out whether they played it somewhat fine, they were making great moves here, or whether someone messes up, or was it maybe even someone owning the other. So very, very interesting hands that we can learn a lot from. And yeah, I think the first special thing in the hand here is that Elton decides to use a 4x open raise. So first thing to think about here is this his only open raise size, or is he actually mixing those strategies there, maybe with even different hand categories that we can read something into? I guess for now that this is just the open raise size he chooses to go with, given the large ante. Now we're coming to Jason. He on the button with ace-king has the first decision point here, and this is very crucial to know how you're building your defending range. This is not a standard spot facing a 4x open raise here. So yeah, how do you want to play? And given that there is more dead money out there now by the open raiser, which I guess Elton is known to be a loose and splashy and aggressive player, so he has still a wide range, and that like drives me into the direction of being on the very aggressive side here. Obviously ace-king is a hand we very happily 3-bet here, but we should think about the rest of our range. What are we doing with our ace-jack offsuits, with our pocket 8s, with our pocket 7s, with jack-9 suited and so on? Given the price, calling is not that interesting compared to 3-betting. So I expect Jason to have a very, very 3-bet heavy range here, and this is obviously what we exactly see with that ace-king as well. He chooses to not size up too much, which is another thing that makes sense when he decides to go for a rather wide range here, to not put out too much dead money himself. So he 3-bets to 13k, which brings us already, if you think about 3-bet pots with 100 big blinds, this is a different scenario already. Just because it's, yeah, $28,500 in the middle. Usually when I play 3-bet pots online, it's like we have an SPR of like 4.5, like the pot would be like someone open raises to 2.5, someone 3-bets to like 8.5, then there's like 17,000 plus the blinds in the middle. So it's, yeah, it's just very, very different. We are very close in a way to the all-in already, and this should influence the strategy of those two players. So let's have a look what comes up. In this 60-40 situation here, we see a flop, king 10 deuce rainbow, that couldn't get any better for Jason's range to start with. He should have like all the broadways. He has ace-king, which Elton should mainly 4-bet, which is a big factor here. He obviously has pocket aces, while Elton has more the speculative hands that try to hit something to outplay, like aces, kings, king queens, ace kings, ace queens. So he has lots of medium pocket pairs here probably. Lots of those suited broadways, yes, they hit in a way. He has like suited connectors probably that do not hit anything. So Jason decides to fire a quarter pot bet here, which I think he can do with his full range. Actually, he could use multiple sizings here, going as far down as like 10% to just attack villains, let's say pocket 6s, pocket 7s, 8-9 suited, stuff like that. Now with that quarter pot bet, it's like a nice trade-off to already attack a little a 10 or ace-jack, ace-queen that are definitely not folding, but you charge them a little extra money given your range advantage. This is exactly what Jason decides to do. And now let's see Elton's reaction. I guess there are not many options he has. He flopped the mid pair, even though his 2-pair outs with the queen are not really clean and great. This is too early to fold. He just got a flick in a call. Check raising is not really an option. Yeah, this is exactly what he does, building the pot up to 43,000. Now the turn card is, which is, I guess, the most interesting thing in this spot here, because it changes quite something, right? So everything that Elton decided to continue here should be around that Broadway. So, and all of that just slightly improved. So his king queen and king jack added a gut shot. Maybe he even has king 9 suited, which has 2 pair now. 10-9 suited, definitely an option. And I mean, queen jack obviously makes the straight now, while ace queen and ace jack are the interesting hands to target that are not having anything besides the overcard plus the nut gut shot. So this would go through my mind in Jason's spot already, how often Elton is defending those hands offsuit, for example. Right? This would mean lots of combinations, ace jack offsuit, ace queen offsuit. I think he shouldn't defend that too often, especially ace jack being dominated so often. So he will definitely have it suited though. So Jason has the first decision to make here, and this is the decision of, do I go all the way with my hand? It's a so-called 3 street hand for me, or is it not good enough on lots of runouts that I actually only want to take 2 streets? And if he decides to go with that option, when does he take the second street? Does he take it now and charge jack 10, king queen, king jack, and so on? Or does he check back now and decide a certain sizing once Elton checks the river again, or has often very easy decisions on any river card if Elton bets a certain sizing? So this is now the struggle that Jason is having, and I think both options are very, very fine. I think it's a very, very good idea to decrease your sizing a little, like decrease from what I see as like a standard thing here to follow up with like a 2/3, 3/4 pot bet that Jason would probably do on a blank, like a 5 of spades, for example. So now he could bet something like 15K, right? You just like put that pressure on a 10, on something like ace 10, for example, on something like even jack 10, on something like ace queen, ace jack, while still leaving room to have like some room to react to check raises. So that would be an idea, or the check, or the larger bet. Everything seems reasonable. And yeah, we see that Jason decides to check back, which I think makes a lot of sense. I mean, he has the king of spades, so he blocks like a couple of hands he would like to stack right now, right? If Elton had the king jack, king queen of spades, he would like to get money in the middle now. Well, given his king of spades, he knows that Elton is not having that. And yeah, now we see a very, very, very interesting river, just because ranges get messed up one more time. And obviously because Elton improves in this very spot. So let's see, maybe think about it for a second. What would be your play here in Elton's shoes? What do you do with your 10? We should think about Jason's range here as well. Like, he can have ace king, he can have king queen, he can have king jack, but he can also have jack 10, queen 10, and ace 10. He should, with the risk of getting check jammed off his equity, Jason should check back some flush draws. If he has something like ace 8 of spades, ace 7 of spades, those are very, very good check backs on the turn. So it's not like you should go crazy. And yeah, let's see what Elton decides to do. With just 77K behind in Jason's stack, and we have 43,000 in the middle with those trips. Yeah, we see, like, when we see the hands, it feels like we see the fear in Jason's eyes of what is coming. I know he is not feared at all, but yeah, this is what we see. Elton splashing out almost 150% of the pot. We see Jason smile as a reaction, and that smile doesn't mean anything, but all right, we have just a bluff catching decision, nothing else. So something that was pretty much like flopping the nuts turned out to be a pure bluff catcher on the river. Elton is not betting anything worse for value. So it's just the thing like, is he bluffing too often given the price Jason is getting, or is he not bluffing often enough? Right? So this is just a very, very black or white decision. Is he over bluffing or is he under bluffing? And this is now what Jason needs to figure out. Here he has the help of his very 2 cards. He knows 2 cards that Elton cannot have. So the ace of hearts is something he should evaluate. And this is something, well, is it good or bad? He's unblocking potential bluffs. Actually, he's blocking potential bluffs, I wanted to say. He's blocking ace queen of hearts, ace jack of hearts. 2 hands that could bluff like that. At the same time, he's blocking one value combination, which is the ace 10 of hearts that could definitely play like that. So the ace of hearts is kind of a, let's say, somewhat of a neutral card, right? It's like blocking both parts that are interesting for us. The King of Spades, though, is a very, very interesting card because it's definitely not blocking a bluff. Right? Elton is never bluffing when he has the King of Spades in his hand. But it's clearly blocking potential value hands like the King, Queen, King, Jack of Spades, right? That just try to maximize value against Jason's river 10x, for example. So this is now what is going through his head. First, what is this player type like? Second, what are my cards telling me here? And then, yeah, he has to make a decision, right? So one more interesting point here would be for me is how protected is Jason here. I mentioned, all right, he has some flushes. He has 10x and he's definitely calling all of those because he might be beating value, right? If he has a 10, he's beating, like maybe Elton would play the same with Jack 10 of clubs. So if Jason has Queen 10, he obviously calls all day long. So it's a spot where it's not about, are we folding just all the time here? No, it's like we are definitely having our calling range. So Elton is betting 60k to win something like 40k. This bluff needs to work out like 60% of the time, if I'm doing the math somewhat correct. And yeah, so, how much is Jason folding here? So he's like, if he folds hands like that, he knows he's slightly overfolding. If he's calling, like if he's calling, it's like, yeah, he's paying off all the value. So it's now, in the end, it's the question of, is Elton having enough bluffs? And that brings us back to the whole play, how it played out. And I think the main decision here is Elton's pre-flop hands. And we're coming back to the offsuit broadways. Is Elton having ace-jack, ace-queen offsuit? Those hands, especially with the ace of spades, should be his first favorite bluffs. Blocking Jason's snap calls with the ace of spades, or even just having any spade is very, very great here. I'm pretty sure this is what is going through Jason's head, and I'm kind of indifferent. Like, I know that Elton can be crazy, our hand is not great, but definitely a slightly good catcher given the king of spades. So it should be in a theory world, yeah, more of a call. And this is exactly what Jason is kind of expressing here. Exactly knowing the situation, going through all the possibilities, and then making a decision. This is what he decides. Like, I'm not beating your value, but I think I need to call it off. Is kind of what he is giving us with his face, just like a very, very honest thing. And just like, you don't hear it, but like as casually as he's just ordering his next stack of 100k, you can see like how much of a professional he is here. Just not bothering for a second, being 100% fine with his decision, which was definitely a good decision. I think folding would have led to him overfolding in that spot, which against someone like Elton, you probably don't want to do that. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you thought of this hand. Would you have made that call? What do you think? Who played it perfect? I think both players played fine. I think the overbet is not really a thing on that board because you're just running into so many good hands that Jason is having. So it's tough. Like if Elton has a bluff, which means he doesn't have a 10, Jason has a 10 just very, very often. So I think this big sizing is a little too much, but yeah, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are, and I hope you liked that one.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to support the channel and stay always up to date, then leave a subscribe here or check out our next video.